You're in a good place now. Relax, breathe, smile. You've entered into your element, the home of origin, the home of intelligence and beauty, where relevant topics are discussed, where what you think counts, and where superior is the norm. You are listening to Perspectives with Ashley Berges.
So what I'm craving, a little perspective. That's it. I'd like some fresh, clear, well-seasoned perspective. Can you suggest a good wine to go with that?
With, what, sir?
Perspective. Fresh out, I take it.
I am,
Very well. Since you're all out of perspective and no one else seems to have it in this bloody town, I'll make you a deal. You provide the food, I'll provide the perspective, which would go nicely with a bottle of Cheval Blanc 19...
Welcome back live to Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Berges. And on tonight's show, we're discussing the TV. You remember when Mom would say, all that TV is going to rot your brain? Well, guess what? Mom was right. You know, I'm not saying that there's no TV, that you shouldn't watch TV at all, but I think that to a degree you want to preserve your subconscious and keep your positive outlook on life. You know, sometimes it's not exactly what happens in our life, it's what we see that actually transcends our thought process on the world and how we see the world around us. Good evening, Bill. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Great Sunday night here at the KLIF studios.
Beautiful
Yes.
Sunday night here at the beautiful Cumulus Studios.
Here at Victory Park in beautiful downtown Dallas, Texas.
Always a nice night. Always
Absolutely.
nice. Hey, Keenan, how you doing?
I'm well. I'm here, beautiful night and everything like that.
You got all that good stuff, yeah.
Yeah, all that good stuff. Yeah, I'm looking up. Well, I was outside earlier looking up, and I was thinking to myself, I wish there wasn't so much light pollution. But the thing is, though, I'm a city guy, so...
I was going to say, you've got no choice.
Yeah, I have no choice. I'm a city guy.
And seeing as how there's all kinds of other types of pollution, that's probably the least of your worries.
Oh, like the pollution of... that you get from watching TV?
Yes.
Oh, wow, look at that.
A good segue there. Fist bump, Keenan, fist bump.
Awesome. Ashley slips Keenan the 20.
That's right.
Hey, when you're looking for the good table, you get to the restaurant, you realize it's a 3-hour wait. Well, guess what? You better figure out how to grease palms quick. Otherwise, you know what? It's down for the count.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about this. Okay, let's get past this. Let's talk about what about TV. Mom used to always say it's going to rot your brain, right? And it might not have been some people's moms, could be their aunt, uncle, cousin, whoever, but, it does to a degree. When you allow things to just the wheels to come off on TV, it just seems to be going crazier and crazier. And I was in a lunch the other day, and this guy was telling me about, I think it was CSI or one of the CSIs or the CSI from that CSI or the SUV or the whatever it was. And he said, I've been watching it for years. And all of a sudden, I had to turn it off. It just got way too gruesome and way too stressful.
I don't doubt that for a second because, there's like 4 or 5 versions of CSI, 8 or 9 versions of Law and Order over the years. And, the problem is that they have to keep outdoing themselves in order to keep the audience and keep the ratings.
Yeah, I mean, it's a ploy to keep people engaged.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
The best analogy I can make to it, and this is going to be kind of a weird analogy, but I'm a pro wrestling fan, as you know, Ashley. And,
yes, I do know, Bill.
The late 90s was the hardcore wrestling boom. Where where they just gave up all pretense and just literally just beat the crap out of each other. By the way, the blood is real in wrestling. And they were doing this crazy stuff like body slamming each other on thumbtacks.
Barbed wire, baseball bats.
Exploding barbed wire baseball bats, throwing each other off the upper level of the seats into like a stack of 4 or 5 tables.
So basically, they were going crazy, almost killing people to get ratings.
I mean, that's when
exactly.
Mick Foley got famous.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and Raven and other guys like that. And it literally got to the point where they had gone as far as they could go without actually killing each other. It's like the only way to top it would be to rip your own arm off and beat your opponent with it. And the problem with doing that, Ashley, is that you can only do it twice.
That's hilarious. Okay, so he's out because he has both arms ripped off. He
Yeah.
puts them in trophy cases, though, however, just to show his glory days. No, I mean, think about it. It's like Matlock. Remember Matlock?
Yes.
You remember Angela Lansbury, Murder, She Wrote? Remember
Yes.
that was edgy. Remember when that was edgy and you'd be like, oh, who killed
I can't believe
who?
they showed that. Yeah.
I can't believe they showed that. Or like even Hitchcock. Let's go back to that. Like some of Hitchcock stuff, man. That was kind of edgy. Some of
Twilight
it's
Zone.
Stressful.
Twilight
Stressful.
Zone.
Yeah. Twilight Zone. Stressful. Think about now. It's like you got all these CSIs. You got all this crazy stuff where I read a book. My dad gave me a novel recently. It was a few years back for Christmas. One, I don't know why I would deserve such a crappy novel. Anyway, I read the first 4 pages of it, and it was so demented, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Very, very, very disturbing stuff. That I got done. I looked at a friend of mine. They're like, "Well, what's wrong? You haven't even gotten past chapter 1." And I said, "Yeah, I'm not bothering." They let me check it out. They read a few pages, like, "Oh, you should give that away." I was like, "I'm not giving that away. I'm going to the recycle bin and I'm putting it in there because there is no reason to give this away." It's like giving a 5-year-old a pack of cigarettes and some cocaine.
Actually,
here you go. You know?
should have soaked it in holy water and then burned it.
And then burn it, but that would be
Yeah.
like the wasting of the holy water. Then I just throw the holy water on me, and then
Cleanse yourself.
Yeah, and then pray for the tree that was killed in order to put this smut out there. You know, I mean, it's
That's
awful.
hilarious.
The poor tree was like, I wanted to be something more, a Bible perhaps, something of quality and substance, but no, I got to be crap, just crap crap. You know what I mean? And it's awful. I mean, they
He
could
could
at
have
least,
been
it's awful.
Yeah, I mean, like that tree could have been the Theory of Everything by Stephen Hawking.
And that tree would be like, I'm cool with this. It's
Yeah.
okay. I feel okay. You could have done a digital copy of it, though, but, you didn't.
Yeah.
But at least it's something respectful,
The tree didn't win the literary
lottery.
No, it didn't. Instead, it was Blood and Gore or whatever this book that Ashley's referring to. I mean, I don't know what book you're talking about. So
Oh yeah, I'm not giving them any sort of like highlights tonight.
Okay.
They're not paying us, and I wouldn't allow them to pay us for anything. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just really it's repulsive stuff. Like the murder and the this and the that and the gory and the details and the this. We won't go into all that. But yeah, let's talk about our subconscious. Let's talk about the way we see the world. And I think it begins with what do you watch on television? Actually, I don't think it begins that way. It does begin that way. What do you watch on television? And if you are watching things on television, do you feel at peace after you're viewing these shows, during these shows? And if not, why do you choose to watch them? I know people all the time that watch crazy shows before they go to bed and go, I haven't gotten a good night's sleep in forever.
Gee, and I wonder why.
Who knows? Yeah, probably because you're watching Death and Dismemberment on Technicolor, and then you go to bed and you go, I don't know what's wrong with me.
I think it's just a basic human desire for shock. It's the same instinct that makes us, rubberneck when we come up on a wreck on the highway. And it's like the ones that especially infuriate me. That it's on the other side of the highway, but people on my side are slowing down now. It's like, get out of my way.
Yeah,
That really makes me mad. But people, it's really weird because I'm also a hard rock heavy metal fan, and the birth of heavy metal back in the late '60s, was that 4 guys from Birmingham, England, were like a heavy blues band. They're just one among countless number of heavy blues bands that were going around England at that time. And one guy said, and they were practicing next to this horror theater. And it was a movie.
It wasn't
called,
a horror theater; it was a horror theater.
Yeah, horror theater. They showed scary movies, and the movie they happened to be showing was called Black Sabbath, starring Boris Karloff. And the guitarist says, isn't it funny how people will pay to scare themselves? Let's write scary music. Was born Black Sabbath.
That's crazy.
The band.
No, I agree with you. It's like the last thing I want to do is get like totally scared out of my mind. I mean, like I'm one of those kind of people. I really realize that there's a slippery slope, like you say.
Yeah,
there is one. So,
there is
right?
one, absolutely.
And you see something, and then you go for the next level, and you go for the next level, and you go for the next level. And I love it when people sit there and look at me and go, "It doesn't affect me at all. It doesn't affect me at all." And you look at them, and you're just like, "Are you okay?" And there's just something a little wrong because the way they see the world is just a little different. They're the same people that walk into their house and check behind every door. Look underneath the bed, look around, make sure all the knives are in the proper position, that nothing's been moved. Or maybe somebody's here to kill me, waiting here. Because they're watching the shows all the time.
Yeah.
They're scared out of their mind.
Long time ago, ex-girlfriend made me take her to see I Am Legend with Will Smith.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I saw that one.
Yeah, and I thought it was an excellent movie. You know, it wasn't just a bloody gory movie. It was like an actual suspense.
Well, yeah, it was based off a book, a novel. Yeah.
And but you know, so we're done with the movie, and I got her home, and she's like, "You're not going anywhere. You're staying here." She made me.
That worked out for Bill.
Well, actually, I mean, nothing happened because she was too
stressed out.
Yeah.
I remember my
Sorry, Bill.
I was hanging out at my spot, and then I walked this young lady home, and she's like, well, it was not only me, but it was like a bunch of people, and she's like, "Hey, who wants to watch a scary movie?" You know, and everyone's like, "No." And she's like, "I love watching scary movies. Keenan, come watch a scary movie with me." So I'm like, "Oh, okay." You know,
yeah, not real enthusiastic. Because here's the thing about it, Keenan, and studies prove this: people get desensitized, and so it's actually, I really think it's like a drug. You know, you never get that same high again, and so you want to do more and more of it to try to get that same high. And it's the same thing with disturbing TV. It's that it takes, they got to push the envelope and push it and push it and push it in order to get that same reaction out of people because they get desensitized.
I agree with that. But what happened with the movie?
I fell asleep. I mean, like, I remember, yeah, I did. I fell asleep. I remember she like all curled up next to me and all this other stuff, and like I woke up on her couch and. Yeah. I woke up on her couch.
There you go. Keenan woke up on the couch, but there was no other Keenans around, I'm sure. No white Keenans, no Asian Keenans.
I was going to say, we covered that last week. You know, we got rid of all the other Keenans in the world.
We got the one Keenan now.
Yes.
No, so let's talk more because I think we have a lot to cover tonight because there's ways that you can actually protect your subconscious. You can even watch TV, but there's things that you need to choose. You need to choose wisely. I mean, there's things that you should choose for yourself. And like Keenan was just saying, somebody else wanted to go see a scary movie. That's one thing. They can go see it, but you don't have to follow along, you know? Because if you don't think that it's good for you, you shouldn't be watching it. So stay tuned because Perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Berges, will be back in 2 shakes.
Turn it up and jump in the deep end on Perspectives with Ashley Berges. The water's warm and there's a swim-up bar. Glass of perspective, anyone? Now, here's Ashley.
Welcome back live to Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Berges. And on tonight's show, we're talking about the TV. You remember when Mom would actually tell you that the TV is going to rot your brain? Well, guess what? Mom was right. You know, a lot of times we take that for granted. We always say, oh, it's not going to rot my brain. But really, if you think about it, we're going in that direction. Things are getting out of control. You know, at one point in time, a mystery show would be like Matlock or maybe Angela Lansbury or whoever it was, and there would be these okay, there was this murder and this took place, but now it's crazy. Now we've gotten to the next level of the next level of the next level for the seventh circle of hell again, and it just seems like it's never going to change, and it's only going to get worse and worse. And why is that? Because they want ratings, because they want people to tune in, because blood obviously leads, and because people want to have this, they have this thirst for more crazy stuff, you know, and I think that's insane.
If it bleeds, it leads, and sex sells.
So think about this. What do you do with your subconscious? What do we do? What do we do when we watch TV? And I think we have to choose what we view wisely. I mean, what do you watch, Keenan?
I watch a lot of PBS, actually.
Perfect. Yeah. PBS is good. It's a good.
So,
yeah. I mean, like I watch like Nova.
I watch Nova.
Yeah, you know,
like how things are built.
Or Frontline.
Well,
that's a political show.
Well, no, I watch I watch Frontline.
But I like Nova. Like that's a good show.
Frontline. I watched like a documentary, like the one Hawking. It's the one about the life of Stephen Hawking and stuff like that. You know, and
so you're watching things that expand your mind.
Yeah, you know,
more than just like paint a picture for you, no matter how it is.
Or like sometimes I'll watch Cosmos Space Odyssey. You know what Neil deGrasse Tyson.
The new one or the old one?
I watched both of them. Neil deGrasse Tyson. And
has
Carl
the new
Sagan.
one come out? I didn't know the new one come out yet.
What, the one with Neil deGrasse?
Yeah.
That is the new one.
That's what I'm talking about. It's come out already.
It's already out.
Oh, I don't know where I've been.
I should rock out. Neil deGrasse and Carl Sagan. Friedrich Nietzsche and my guys. But I
don't know where I've been then. But
I like Scandal. Sandra Rhimes. I think she's a good writer. I think she's a really good, like a lot of the stuff that she writes, like Scandal and what else, Private Practice and Grey's Anatomy, and she's coming out with another one starring Viola Davis, and I kind of want to see it, but it's called How to Get Away with Murder, and I want to know how Sandra's going to write that.
Well, so I guess actually, Keenan and I, neither one of us have cable.
Okay, well, and I think there's a lot of
we not be
options.
good examples of what you're talking about.
No, and I understand. I mean, there's a lot of people that have different options. Some people watch Netflix, some people watch cable, some people watch DirecTV, some people watch just the TV that they have, some people don't watch TV at all. And, I think that's interesting, but I think the reason why I'm asking this question is that a lot of times, no matter what's happening in our own life, it's really what we put into our brain, if that's TV or some sort of other, if it's music or what have you, that's the way we actually see the world. So, for example, if we're watching some crazy negative TV shows all the time and we're constantly watching that, we're going to think that the world is pretty bad. We're going to walk, you know what I'm saying? You're going to walk out and be like, this is a war zone. You know what I mean? I got to watch out my back. When people watch really stressful shows, whether it's killing or murdering or violence or whatever it is, or just evil in general, people normally sit there and start thinking the world is like that because they forget this is on TV. And sometimes they start seeing small microcosms of that, and they're kind of rationalizing that in their head. Oh, yeah, this is right. This is what I'm seeing. This is what the world's about.
There's an old saying, Ashley, that the eyes are the windows to the soul.
Exactly.
And I think that if you watch or listen to something, constantly, like I said earlier, you become desensitized to it. You think that's normal.
That's true. You think it's normal. It's like being in an abusive relationship. Some people have been in an abusive relationship so long, and let's say that they watched it when they were a kid with their parents, and then later on they get married into it again. They think that's normal. That's just normal occurrence. That's the way life is, right?
Exactly.
I mean, if somebody smacks them around a little bit, that's just the way it is.
Right.
And it's the same thing on the TV. I mean, I really, really watch what I watch. I really watch myself and discern honestly how I'm feeling. How is my heart rate? How do I feel? I mean, because when you're watching something that really stresses you out, it changes your heart rate. It changes your rhythm. A lot of times we forget to blink. There's like the blinking option. When you forget to blink and stuff like that, that's something as well. But also, a lot of times people just put the TV on and don't even use a DVR. I mean, like, if you're going to watch cable or you're going to watch DirecTV, you have the option of pausing, stopping, fast forwarding, playing. And that's something that is very suggested. That's what I suggest, because you don't need to watch everything. You don't need to watch everything. And I think there needs to be a balance of how much time you're sitting in front of the TV, because I mean, I know that if I've watched TV for a long period of time, like let's say you're sick, and you're on the couch and you're watching TV, I feel like I kind of get a little stupider as well. Like, I don't feel as intelligent, but also it's kind of like you're vegging out. Like, you kind of almost like a vegetable. Like, you're just kind of like not thinking for yourself at all.
Yeah, Ashley, and going back to what you said earlier, Mom says TV watch your brain, and she's right. I mean, if you watch, too much of anything is bad for you. And
except for perspectives, you can listen to perspectives as much as you want.
Yeah, as much perspectives as you could possibly get. I agree with that. But the whole concept, I think, behind that saying is that you need balance in your life. You need to stimulate your brain in other ways besides the boob tube, and I think that's the danger of letting the TV be the babysitter to your kids. It's like, of course, in Keenan in this day and age, a lot of two-income households, right? Both mom and dad, have to work. And and so they let the TV babysit the kids while they're getting ready for work or, doing whatever. And then it's like their attention span becomes like a gnat.
Well, yeah,
I agree.
I remember being babysitted by Big Bird. I remember that, But then that was a long time ago. I mean, back when I was a child, we didn't have 1,800 channels.
Right. And
back then.
It's okay to watch an hour of Sesame Street.
Right.
But if you're watching Sesame Street for 6 hours straight, the Sesame Street marathon.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like, I would rather give a kid, a computer device or something to do like scientific problems or to learn math or to learn sciences or shapes or states or something. And as a kid, I loved that kind of stuff. I mean, we didn't have iPads and stuff like that, but I loved learning, and that was something I really loved to do. And I realized with TV, though, the thing about TV is it kind of makes you, stuck. Like radio, you can kind of, paint this picture for yourself. And, people listening, all our listeners tonight can paint the picture. If you haven't personally met me or Keenan or Bill, you paint the picture of what we look like, what we're talking about. You kind of, put yourself in the construct and in this painting with us. And, when you're on TV, when you're watching TV, it's already been painted for you.
Right.
And you can't make it up. There's no imagination. And I think as a kid, the last thing you want to do is to lose your imagination. And I think adults, for the most part, have lost their imagination. Hence why normally people always say the first idea that they have, the biggest idea, most people's first books are the best book they had. The rest of it sucks. Most people's first ideas are the best ideas, and over a period of time, those ideas start lacking. Those ideas start falling off, like we talked about these CSI in these detective films. I mean, at first it was kind of interesting, oh, what happened? But now it's like as far as you can keep going because there is no more original thought for them. They just kind of keep creating to know, okay, well, if we get worse than this, let's just do this. Let's kill 15 people this time. And like Bill, when we were on break, remember?
Yeah.
Sex versus violence. Okay, so what is up with that? I mean, I'm not talking about full-on porn, but I am talking about when somebody's having sex on TV, it's not that big of a deal compared to killing 50 people in a movie.
And yet, anytime, parent groups or other groups start protesting, TV and film, it's usually the depictions of sex.
Well,
yeah.
That's because we live in this Protestant society.
It's our Puritan heritage. Absolutely.
The Puritan heritage. I mean, like a lot of people do. Me personally, I do not. But y'all don't need to know about my affiliation with any of that. So, anyways,
good idea.
Yeah. So, it's because we still come from that, and we just really have not recovered to where with that idea, sex is the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
It's just the worst thing ever, even though we live in a country that executes a lot of people.
Our society is a very violent society.
Yeah.
I would argue that that's a bigger impact on people, especially children, than not that I
mean,
want.
there's a level of sex, but I agree with you. I mean, if it's tastefully done and everything like that, it's one thing. I mean, it's a part of life, but killing to me is not a part of a good life.
Well,
to kill people,
it's not, But has anyone ever really examined the history of mankind? Like, examine the entire history of mankind from the time we became bipedal till now. It is filled with war. I'm like,
religious wars.
Yeah, I'm like, we are a violent species.
I mean, we kill people.
We are.
But before
religion.
that, Keenan, and you probably know this. I mean, it's been documented that chimpanzees make war on each other. I mean, literal war.
Yeah.
It's amazing because we do have a lot of war in our life and a lot of acquisitions. We try to acquire things, acquire places, acquire states, acquire countries, whether it's a religious type thing. And like you were talking about, the religious wars. I mean, there were the Crusades that were based upon this whole thing of killing a whole group of people. Or you're trying to cleanse people. And that's still going on to this day.
It is.
Absolutely.
So, when we return, we're going to be talking about more about what you can do to really watch your subconscious, as well as how to really realize that maybe things are changing based upon the TV watching, and what you can do to make those changes and better your life. So stay tuned, because Perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Berges, will be back in 2 shakes.
This is Jake Busey, and you're listening to Perspectives with Ashley Berges on 570 KLIF.
Do you see the light? The band! Do you see the light? What light? Have you seen the light? Yes! Yes! Jesus H. Christ! I have seen the light!
Welcome back live to Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Berges. And on tonight's show, we're talking about TV and remembering back when Mom would say that TV is going to rot your brain. Well, I guess what? Mom was right. Life is funny how it is. It's like TV seems to be changing. TV seems to be morphing into something more of a giant almost, like a crazy, psychotic giant that keeps going to the end, and it's speeding up even faster like a locomotive. And it's very interesting because a lot of times we watch shows that we don't even realize are aiding and abetting and giving us high blood pressure. They're helping us get higher cholesterol. They're stressing us out. They're making it difficult for us to sleep, as well as we're starting to see the world around us in a different way. It's funny how when we get, inundated with stuff that just doesn't help your brain, it rots your brain, actually. You see it, you hear it, you're in it. You start believing that the world is actually like that. So if I'm watching a bunch of TV that tells me that the world is a bad place, it's a scary place, awful things happen. When I go out into the real world, I'm going to forget that that was TV, and I'm going to realize it's my reality. And also, guess what? I create that reality because I see the worst in the people around me. I see the worst in the situations, and when I'm watching the news, I actually internalize that even more. On the flip-flop, if I'm actually watching what and paying attention to what I'm viewing, as well as actually watching quality programming, things that actually, I don't know, awaken, open my mind
Make
instead
you
of
think.
close it. Yeah. I mean, the thinking
Stimulate
stuff,
your brain.
right?
Yeah.
The things that make you smarter, not the things that take away. And it's almost like doing a crossword puzzle. Like, they don't tell you for Alzheimer's patients to watch more TV. Okay, that's one of the no-nos. They ask you to do like mind, problems and jumbles and that kind
Puzzles,
of thing.
yeah, jigsaw puzzles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reading, things like that to like get the mind going. The last thing you want is somebody like that vegging in front of the TV and not even just letting it all just come into their subconscious. And some of it's good, some of it's not good, some of it's just crap. You know?
I mean, that's not an accident. We call that vegging.
Yeah, it's called vegging.
It's also called programming.
And it's called programming for a reason.
And Keenan and I are media students. Okay, we went to radio television school. They will actually teach you, not just at the college level, but in the professional world, how to do just that, how to program people.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
It's not an accident. I mean, I hope nobody out there thinks that this is all an accident. I mean,
no, it's not an accident at all. I mean, think about it. I'm like, if you're, directing something, people are watching this within four corners, right? And the thing is, though, whatever is outside of those four corners do not exist. So the thing is, directors can actually make you see what they want you to see through different types of camera angles.
They create the ultimate reality.
Yeah, through rack focusing, and through, depth of field, that kind of thing.
Music, the background
Oh,
music.
yeah, the background music and everything like that.
Think about music too, like on the flip flop when you're listening to music. Like I was in the cab the other day. I was in an Uber or cab, whatever, the other day. And I remember there was some song on, and it was like the absolute worst song. It was something to the effect of like, all your empty promises fill me up and all this stuff. It was a very just disjointed, really yucked out love type song, which had like the worst connotation. And now I realize that people that listen to the types of music have no idea what love is. But it's the same thing. You're inundated with it. And like when you're talking about that, Keenan, about programming, right? Why do we allow people to program us? I mean, are we that insignificant? Are we allowed to be programmed? And that's what we do. When we turn these shows on and we don't realize what's happening to our subconscious, we're allowing these people to program us.
Well, yeah, most people don't realize that there's only 5 media companies in the entire United States. There's only 5 media companies. And on top of that, there are like around 235 media executives or CEOs, whatever you want to call them. And they are deciding, these 235 people. Granted, no. That's an important number. It's an important number because I'm going to tell you why. 235 people are deciding what 300
million.
Yeah. 300. No, more than 300. It's like 311 million people are watching.
Actually,
on TV.
Keenan, I would say actually it's worse than that. Billions of people because American culture.
Oh yeah, that's right. See, I'll just talk about the
spread
United
worldwide.
States. I'll just talk about the United States. But think about it. I mean, within our borders, though, there, more than 300 million people. They are.
Oh, it's amazing that, and they actually are. Think about it. They're in charge of this, and guess what? I mean, who's behind that too? Who are the special interest groups behind that, trying to also pursue whatever
advertisers.
Okay, perfect. And then think about the next concept. A lot of times too, it's not always bad to have people scared. It's not always bad to have people that don't want to rise up or don't want to talk to their neighbors.
Well, no. See, there's a reason why that. There's a reason why they do that. There really is. Because the thing is, though, when you are afraid, okay, when there is fear, you're more likely to tune in. Because the thing is, through evolution, whenever we are afraid of something, this came back from evolution. This is how we
the fight or flight response.
Yeah, fight or flight. But when you're afraid, you really pay attention to something, right? So the thing is, like,
you don't blink.
Time slows down.
You don't blink.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't blink. So the thing is, like, say, news, companies or even whatever media outlet there is, they try to scare you. That way you stay tuned in. Because if you stay tuned in, guess what comes after that?
Commercial.
The commercials. the commercials. And
you forget to fast forward through them, too, if you have an ability to do that because you're too into it. You forget.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, it keeps you tuned in.
Overwhelmed.
That's exactly it, Ashley. I mean, you're so uber focused on what you're watching that it just burns into your brain.
And you're just sitting there like, give me more.
And that's how television stations, or whatever, that's how they make their money. They make their money through commercial advertising.
And see, I agree with you. And see, the other flip-flop with that, too, is that I watch like a lot of the shows like you do, Keenan. But honestly, to be honest with you, if those shows aren't on, I watch the sports. Because sports seems to be not so bad. You know what I mean? Do you agree with me? Like that's the one positive.
Of course,
and a lot of people turn to that because there's no other option.
And even within the sports world, which is my field of expertise, there's a reason why football has overtaken baseball as America's favorite sport.
It's the perfect sport for television.
It's more visual and is much more violent.
Well, hockey's even more violent than that.
Well, the thing is, like football is just real easy to follow. Think about it. You have one team going down the field in one direction. It's so linear.
Yes.
It's just it really is. And on top of that, it's the perfect game because the way it's played for commercials. It's perfect for commercials. That's why we don't see a lot of soccer in the United States,
rugby, which rugby is a pretty rough sport.
Because the way it's played.
Yes.
I like highlight. Good highlight. You clean up on the games.
Yeah.
Highlight in Miami. I used to watch highlight all the time. It was like highlight, and that's fast. That ball's like whisking around like 100 miles an hour over there, and they're scooping it up in that scooper, and they're throwing it right at people's heads. I mean, it's crazy.
Actually, let me follow up on a point that Keenan made a little bit earlier, and again, this is because we went to school for this. You don't think that television exists to provide quality programming to an audience, do you?
No.
Of course not. Television and radio also, but television exists to provide an audience to advertisers.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, the programming decisions they make is going to appeal to the lowest common denominator. They
want the most people.
Yeah.
And that way they can go, okay, we've got this share in this rating, okay, give us your money.
It's a lot it's a lot like writing news. When you write news, you write at a 5th grade level because the thing is, you need to appeal to the lowest common denominator. Like for example, someone with say just a GED may not watch BBC Sherlock with Benjamin Cumberland,
but they will watch Eyewitness Action News. At 5:30 or whatever.
Or they'll watch whatever serial killer movie they have.
Or the CSI thing. Granted, what they do is dumbed down science.
Yep.
It's serious. The thing, you can't even do that in real life.
Oh, it's so funny. Speaking of that, my dad had a neighbor back. This was a few years back, and I guess something got stolen. And my dad was like, when he was talking to the police, he was like, just do that thing that they did in CSI, And the guy's like, that doesn't even exist, sir. He goes, that's just for show. And they're like, no, it exists. No. And people were like, they assume that this is real.
No, it's a pseudoscience.
Yeah, they believe they can just get the fingerprints off some sort of light instrument and all this stuff. And things have just gotten out of hand. And I think the key to having a good life right now is really to watch what you're being programmed. And you're totally right about the advertising. It's all based on getting money out of you. How many diapers can we sell? How much makeup can we sell? How much freaking whatever can we sell based on whatever it is? And it's all commodity. And basically, we're just like the idiots sitting on the couch allowing ourselves to be programmed. And that's kind of sad when you think about it because it's almost like it's just cattle call. It's just really kind of sad. So when we return, we're going to talk about exactly what you can do to stop the freaking madness because it's all based on you. We can talk about this until we're blue in the face. We can tell you about programming and we can basically awaken you. But until you make the decision to make changes in your life, you're going to always feel less. You're going to always feel like your world sucks. And on top of that, you're never going to be happy because you're going to be focusing on what you're viewing and putting that on real life. So stay tuned because Perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Berges, will be back in. We'll be back in 2 shakes.
I can lift you up. I can show you what you want to see and take you where you want to be.
Get in here and give us your perspective. We're listening. You're listening to Perspectives with Ashley Berges.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Welcome back live to Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Berges. And you remember when Mom used to say that the TV is going to rot your brain? Well, guess what? Mom was actually right. Yeah, Mom was right this time. You know, TV in general, if not in balance, can cause many problems. And a lot of times we don't even realize what's being ingested into our subconscious. Unfortunately, we aren't paying attention at all. Instead, we're actually vegging in front of the TV, paying no attention to how our blood pressure feels, paying no attention to how we're actually taking this, and not even realizing if we're blinking or not. So, first off, I think the thing that you must do to realize what's going on in your subconscious is you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to protect yourself. And I think that's key.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, to protect yourself. What's going in?
But because, here's the thing, Ashley. I mean, look, at the end of a long work day, I like to relax with a little bit of television too. Okay?
Yeah, maybe an hour or two.
But you got to have some balance in your life. If all your entertainment is coming off of TV or YouTube videos, I consider videos on computer.
Like the internet has changed the entire game.
Like on your laptop or on your iPhone or whatever. I mean, it's the same
thing.
It's a different
TV,
platform.
Laptop, Hulu, all that. We're kind of talking about all that right now.
Yeah,
right.
So you need to balance that out with something that you read, maybe some radio, listen to the radio, listen to Perspectives with Ashley Berges, of course. But, like you were saying at the beginning of the show, let radio paint the picture for you.
Right.
Read and therefore paint the picture in your own brain yourself. Okay?
I mean, and radio's awesome. Reading is great.
Or take up a hobby. Take up a hobby where you're doing something with your hands.
Something to replace the time.
Yes.
Because it's not all about TV, and it does close your mind. And then also on the other side, it's like you really owe it to yourself to protect yourself. Who's guarding the castle? Think about your body as a temple, and your temple is the castle, okay? So who's guarding it? Is the drawbridge down and people are just coming in and, doing like mental attacks? When you put the TV on or you put whatever on and you just leave it on, you're not even focusing on it. All that is just going into your subconscious. It's not like you just turn your subconscious off and go with a lock and key going, okay, we're not going to internalize any of this. We're going to let this all go right away. It's just going to be like water off a duck's back, It's not like that. We keep all that within us, and then we view the world subconsciously through these types of eyes.
Keenan, you remember Calvin and Hobbes?
Yeah, I remember Calvin and Hobbes. The comic strip.
It's my all-time favorite comic strip. The one of the ones I remember most is Hobbes, of course, is the pet tiger, the stuffed tiger. Okay,
oh yeah.
That to Calvin was alive, and everybody else is just a stuffed animal. Hobbes is saying to Calvin, do you think there's too much violence on television nowadays? And Calvin goes, nah, I like to shoot the person that said that.
That's hilarious.
I mean, in two panels, he just said it perfect.
That's hilarious.
I mean, the thing is, I'm like, you do control the remote control.
You control what goes into your mind.
Yeah,
you control.
You control it.
And see, like you said, you can make choices. You can make choices to see things that will stress you out. You can make choices to view things that upset you. You can make choices, though, on the other hand, to watch things and view things that open your mind, that add to your intellect, that make you question things in the world, that allow you to be introspective, right?
However, commercial television is telling people that to watch things that do open your mind, say on PBS or Nova or something like that it's boring. That is not worth watching.
It's not cool.
It's not cool.
The cool kids don't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the cool kids don't do that kind of stuff. But the thing is, like we said before, they're being programmed to think that.
Yeah, they're being programmed that this isn't entertaining.
From a very young age.
Yeah, from a very young age.
Have you bothered to watch like kids programming like Nickelodeon lately?
No, I haven't.
I mean, I will a little bit because my girlfriend's niece and nephew are kind of that age. And I'm telling you, they're being programmed from an early age to
what is it like? Just
stuff.
Like, is it kind of ADD hour where everything's within a couple of seconds?
Absolutely,
lots of sounds and movements,
and visuals
and graphics,
loud noises,
visuals and stuff like that
to hold their attention.
And dogs like that.
Yeah,
animals like that. Like my dog likes
dogs.
that. I mean, that's what we are. I mean, and that's what we're doing with our kids.
I'm like back when I was a kid, I was watching like documentaries on snakes.
I used to watch documentaries on how things were made.
Yeah.
Mutual of Omaha, Wild Kingdom. That was my favorite show when I was growing up.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I love seeing the lion, chase down the poor little,
Gazelle,
and, that type of thing.
The gazelle.
But yeah, I mean, so actually, I mean, and this is important for me to say really quickly. I'm not saying, don't watch mindless entertainment, because if I'm had a long day at work and I'm tired at night, I mean, I may not be in the mood to use my brain a whole lot, but balance is the key.
I agree with you, Bill, and that's well said, because we all deserve our relaxation time, and the time should be used to better ourselves and make ourselves stronger and happier people. And I agree that we all deserve relaxation time, and if that's what you think is relaxation, TV, perfect, because you deserve to have downtime. However, it is important to realize when you are being programmed. When you are being programmed and this is not coming from your core, you have to realize that.
What's the term we learned, Keenan? Media savvy?
Yes.
The general public is not media savvy.
No.
But the small portion, like people like you who are, you see right through this kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, of course I see right through it. I mean, because the thing is, like, whenever I'm watching TV or whenever I'm watching a film, I'm gonna notice an edit. I will notice, just like when I saw Ninja Turtles up in the movie, I saw a continuity error. And it just screamed to me.
I see those things all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it just screamed to me. Did anyone else in the audience notice it? No. Or like even in that film, when the scene when they're escaping and everything like that, and they have the shot of adrenaline, and Donatello, he's the nerd guy, and he's all dopamines, and I'm laughing. No one else in the theater got it.
Isn't that crazy?
No one else got it.
Subconsciously they got it. They didn't get it consciously though.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
They didn't get it consciously.
I was like, ha, and I look around like, oh.
And everybody else is like, why is that guy?
They're probably Googling it, right?
Yeah,
it's
I'm like, why
is
that guy laughing?
I mean, it is like programming kind of is like there's there's no clock in a casino. You don't see one. You know what I mean? They're not trying to like wake you up. They want you to just lull into the relaxation, deep sleep. Actually, we're just going to keep telling you stuff. That's why when you have like those commercials, so when you've ever fallen asleep by the TV and the commercials keep going, and you wake up singing the Clorox bleach song, and you can't get that song out of your head to save your life, that's when you know that subconscious, it really works. It goes in, and especially music and jingles. So think about being true to yourself, and that does require balance. So how do we become true to ourselves? Regulate the time we spend. Right? How else do we be true to ourselves? Recognize what is mind-opening. Don't buy into the hype.
Well, no, you can't. I mean, you can't buy into it. You can't. But
people do it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. People do it all the time. I'm like, we are pack animals, and we will appoint somebody as a leader, and the rest of us will just follow. And if you're
zombies,
like zombies, like sheep. And the thing is, though, if you're one of those people that just don't follow anyone and you are true to yourself, yet you are not following the appointed leader, then guess what? There's something wrong with you. People tell you that you're crazy. People tell
those people to come by here, come about a perspective. We like them to come by.
We want different perspectives here.
Yeah.
If you march to a different drummer, we'd like to talk to you.
That's
you
right.
know? And also, there's some people that are figuring this out just now.
Yeah.
They're realizing it, and they're going, oh, my God, what have I been doing? Or, and you can stop it. You can change it. It's not forever. I mean, you can stop. You can basically unplug. And you can say, okay, I'm going to go try something else. I'm going to open my mind. I'm going to try a different hobby, or I'm going to only watch things that impress on me a positive environment.
Ashley, I think at the end of the day, you can't be afraid to challenge yourself. I think most people are afraid to challenge themselves.
Yeah.
Challenge yourself. Instead of watching 3 or 4 hours of TV at night, watch an hour and then find something else to do. It doesn't have to be strenuous. It doesn't have to be, particularly intellectually
get out of the comfort zone.
But yeah, get out of your comfort zone. And I think you'll find that that you won't miss that time.
Yeah, and when you find yourself imitating something or saying something that you saw on TV or in a music video or whatever kind of media, maybe it's time to unplug.
Yes, when you start thinking that is reality.
Yes, like trying to walk into a club in slow motion like you saw in a music video. You can't do that in real life.
Just doesn't happen.
Yeah. No one walks at 120 frames per second. It just doesn't. That's editing.
I want to see that actually. I want to see that. No, you're right. Yeah. It's slow mo. It's editing. It's actually devised that way, and that's the way it is.
Adobe Audition, Adobe Premiere,
Adobe Premiere,
Final Cut,
Final Cut, Avid. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like the thing is, there's there's editing involved in what you watch, and the thing is,
and it's ridiculously easy to do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, and when you're watching what you are watching, you got to remember that what you are watching is being controlled by one person, and that is the director.
And also by whoever's advertising.
Yeah,
and
by
putting the money.
exactly.
Yeah, whoever's paying the
director. hey, know about product placement.
Product placement could people sometimes, it just depends on what the placement
product
is.
placement, no, product placement is crazy. Like, even when it comes to
cigarettes, shoes,
Yeah,
drinks.
I'm about to say clothing. I mean, remember those red, white, and blue checker kind of plaid shirts?
Yep.
You know how many companies make those? Lots.
So, I mean, there's a lot of companies out there.
Yep.
I mean, hey, Keenan,
lots of people bought them.
Keenan, we'll have to see if you have some of those shirts too. We'll all wear them in studio next week, and I'll put my name tag on, and I'll be Keenan next week. Actually, Keenan, this was a great show.
Thank you. Yes, it's media. I like to like for my theater days, I was taught entertainment form. That's what I do.
You do it well too. Awesome, Bill. Great show.
Thank you very much, Ashley. Great topic tonight.
Hey, I thought it was pretty good. You're right.
Yes.
So again, just remember, guys, when you're watching TV, you're doing your thing, remember it is all programming. Remember that you are significant. If you feel like you are insignificant, then give up your right. Otherwise, you owe it to yourself to protect your subconscious. You owe it to yourself to be true, to know what's good for you. You owe it to yourself to have a balance. And you owe it to yourself to realize what is actually good for you and what creates a positive, lasting environment for you to live by, as well as who's guarding the castle. That's something for you to think about. Stay tuned, because Perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Berges, will be back in 3 shakes.